All right. Today is February 14th, and it is time for us to make another platform walkthrough. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And there you go. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through some of the advancements we have made on the Demia platform. As you can see here, we have two different projects that are listed on the dashboard. I'll take you through a little bit on that here in a second. When we onboard a customer, if they have more than one project, they can now start to streamline the addition of a new project. So we've got the add project component here. You can come through and start to add some specific project data that then notifies us, and we can come through and help refine the integration, the digital twin, and get that data up and running. Um, when you come to profile, you can see there's my username, there's my user ID, here's my DID, my decentralized identity document, and the ID for that document. It's all stored on Demia's Zero Trust Data Fabric. When you come to identity, you can see another linking of my DID. You can see my signature keys for signing and encryption, and you can also see my document keys. So there's that. And then if I was integrating these into Hedera, you can actually come in and link the DID from Hedera, and you can show that we have a universal resolver on the backside that has the digital identity for your project or facility, and your account on Demia, as well as on the Hedera network. So we have interoperability on identities across multiple blockchain networks, which is pretty unique. There's my identity document, or the intro to it, and I can actually delete that and create a new one if I want to, but that would be silly, so I'm not going to do that. Coming back to the projects, oh, one more thing. We do have dark and light mode, so it's a nice little transitional effect. But when I come into the dashboard, you can see this is our biogas plant that was originally developed by BioE out of Molina, Chile. We monitor it for the anaerobic digestion process in alignment with Canadian requirements. The project was funded as a pilot with Environment and Climate Change Canada. So it's a government project for us to come through and actually digitize the continuous monitoring of the emissions captures on the facility, specifically around CO2 and methane. You can come into this digital twin, you can see, hey, this is where they drop off the solid waste. This is where they drop off the liquid waste. And this is where they drop off. Oh, that was a weird little glitch. The agricultural waste. So this facility was done in conjunction with VSPT, which is via San Pedro, and they are one of the top 20 largest international wine producers globally. And so all of their waste from their facility in Molina, Chile, or near Molina, Chile, is dropped off at this location. And then you can see this is what the grape harvest waste looks like, the amount that was on site at this time, and some general information on it. But it comes from after they produce the wine. Instead of just throwing it into a landfill and letting it create emissions, they take it, they run it through this biodigester process, and they capture those emissions in real time. We also have some sensors here. These are pressure sensors at the top and flow sensors at the bottom that we're collecting data from in real time as well, or near real time. And then there's a little hiccup on my account right now because we're updating it, but this will typically show you the captures over the last 30 days and then what the annual estimation is based on the last 30 days captures on how much impact this facility is going to have, as well as the amount of confidence we have in the data based on the data sources and how they're structured and how the data is managed on site. When I come to data sources, you can see we've got the data confidence here. The data types that are sheets or manual data entry types have a much lower confidence. That's because it requires an individual to manually enter that data. So there's a lot of room for human error. It's also not near real time, not as consistent. So we might get updates every day, sometimes every few days, sometimes multiple times a day. There's an inconsistency to it that shows that it's just not reliable and needs a little bit more of a QA/QC process. And then you can see the flow meters here. If I go to the flow meter, the Esters Electronic is the manufacturer. This one has not been calibrated. There's a serial number, all the general information that an auditor would need. You can then look at it over the last 30 days or the last 6 months. and see how the data has changed in that time frame. From this device alone, we have over 12,000 data points. If I click on any one of these data points, we can see what kind of annotations we're tracking to generate that data confidence. Is it automated? Can we verify the source? Is the data being transferred through TLS? Is there PKI for the device as well? Some of these are true, some of these are false. So that's a little bit of an insight into our scoring mechanism, or what we call our trust schema. That'll continue to improve over time as well. We have a number of different revisions to that this quarter and next quarter that we're going to start to publish. And then if I click on the address associated with the data point, it'll take me to a new window. This is the Dawn, the Demia's decentralized Oracle network, or also known as our zero trust data fabric. So it is an implementation of a blockchain. Everything that goes onto this data, which includes every single data point and every single annotation about every single data point, is compartmentalized, secure, signed, encrypted. It's about as secure as we could get it from my perspective. And for background on me, for those of you that don't know me, I did cybersecurity and cyber operations at the NSA. While I was in the Army, I got to do some fun things overseas in Iraq and manage high value terrorist networks in a few different capacities. And I did digital forensics while I was at the Department of Defense Cybercrime Center. So I know a few things about data security, and we have purposely designed this fabric and this system to be as secure as possible within reason while still being easy to use. And so that's really what the platform is doing too, is it's showing how we can use a secure data sharing framework to efficiently and effectively verify and provide provenance of data through a digital twin. Use that data to feed trusted data into trusted analytics, trusted reporting, and trusted AI. So we have a number of different AI integrations we're currently implementing right now that'll be public probably next quarter, as long as everything goes smoothly. But then we take all the various data sources, we look at the methodology on the carbon market side of things, and we say, okay, if I'm going to process the data, what's the impact based on these data sources from this facility? How much CO2 or CO2 equivalent is being captured? This facility, over the time frame that we're looking at, is capturing, so this is from November, so it's about the last 3.5 months, would capture around 8,000 tons. Where that comes from is the anaerobic digestion emissions, the biogas that's collected. If we can monitor the electricity that's generated, we do. We know based on documentation that this facility provides enough energy to cover 70% of the energy requirements of the wine production for VSPT. So it's a pretty circular system where they're using their waste, they're generating electricity from the emissions because they're separating the CO2 and the methane, they're burning the methane for energy, turns turbines, is connected to a grid that goes back to the facility, fuels the energy requirements for that facility. So it's a really nice circular system there. And then they take the waste after the emissions have been captured and they use it as fertilizer and pesticides for the crop as well. But there's a number of different analytics mechanisms that we tie into this specific biogas project. You can come in and you can see here's the analytics setting. We're looking at wastewater, we're looking at methane emissions. What's the total greenhouse gas emissions from any given stream? Is there electricity that's being consumed from the grid from this facility? Are they using fossil fuels? A number of things as defined by the methodology for us to know with a very high degree of certainty and analyze in real time what's the impact of this facility. Some of the integrations we're working on right now are automating the monitoring reports for this. So on the Guardian side, if this is tied into Adara, you can essentially set a time frame that you want to look at the data. And you can send a report directly into another blockchain that issues as a transaction over there through a smart contract. And it says, this is the impact of this facility over this time frame. Here's how much CO2, methane, et cetera, is collected. Here's the credits that would be generated as an equivalent from that positive impact. So when it comes to tokenizing or enabling tokenization of a project's impact, we can do that essentially in real time. And once you send an initial report, that's then live from that point on. You can turn it off if you want to, but the data will continue to publish at a set interval on an hourly basis into Hedera saying, over the last hour, here's the impact. There's some transparency there, but it's not too transparent when it comes to the business IP or anything happening on the ground. There's the peer-to-peer secure data sharing tools in Demia, so that if anybody that's seeing those reports are using them for tokenization or AI or other things, they can come in here and they can request access to deeper data. But we want to make sure that we're protecting companies' data by default. Um, Once these are live, hopefully in the next quarter, we'll have the reporting mechanisms. You'll be able to come in and see monitoring reports, verification and validation reports. And then we're also working on onboarding a few different auditing companies on the carbon side of things so that we can refine this workflow for verification remotely. That'll enable them to come on and do more of a QA/QC process, a quality assurance and control process for verifying the impact of the facility without actually needing to fly down consistently, sometimes 2 to 3 to 4 times a year. So this helps take an annual reporting cycle and bring it down to a monthly or a real-time reporting cycle. We could take the data streams and the APIs, we could connect them to financial institutions, we can connect them to rating agencies, insurance companies so that they can underwrite the assets or the facility. There's a lot that comes from having this infrastructure and this compartmentalization and the provenance and veracity or the accuracy around the data that we're able to achieve here. And so if I take a step back, I'm going to give you a tease and what we're doing on the nature-based side. There's still a little bit of work here to do, but it is live. We're not doing analytics on it yet. We're still working on our data structuring, but you can see this is a location for a test tower with one of our partners, Hyphen. They have a tower here. This is what the tower looks like. There's a number of different sensors that are hosted on that tower. And so you can see there's a pretty long list of various things that are monitored, the models of the sensors, the sensor IDs, et cetera. You can come in, you can click on any one of these, and you can see this one's monitoring the unrotated wind that goes into the eddy covariance calculations at the facility. And there's a number of different metrics. We're not quite satisfied on the UI UX point where this is yet, but we've got the data's flowing. We're working on some API refinements with Hyphen to enable this to be much more streamlined. We're going to update some of the interface and the imagery around these data sources soon. And then the 21 different data sources are probably going to have a slight restructure, so it's a little easier to navigate. But we're consistently making improvements to our platform, how we structure data, how we navigate data. We'll start to have some RAG-based data storage mechanisms implemented so that we can integrate some LLM capabilities so that if someone wants to come in and ask questions from the data set, they're able to do that, but do it securely. The data would not be public. It would be processed in-house through the LLM integrations that we do. And then that'll also enable us to do a lot of the automations with the reporting and other capabilities that we want to do. So lots of fun things coming, lots of updates to the dashboard and to the analytics process, and then the reporting process as well. So these are all going to be refined really heavily over the next 6 weeks. And we'll make a ton of updates and we'll keep everyone updated. But that's my wrap up on the platform. A number of different updates since I've posted our last walkthrough. So I wanted to go ahead and get this out there, show that we're making a lot of progress. And I'm looking forward to doing another one of these in March where things are a little bit more refined and hopefully we have some fun announcements that we're able to make along with them. So let me turn off my sharing. Thank you for taking the time to watch our walkthrough. And hope you have a great day.